Guys, I remembered one man I lived with in the same building, in the same tenement building. Back then, we called it Face Me, I Face You. There was one handsome man. This man was 2 meters tall, over 2 meters tall. In fact, when he walks on the street, he was always the tallest. All eyes back then were on him. So then, this guy lived with his uncle. You know, he finished secondary school and came to the city to live with his uncle. Now, then I finished school, then I finished my secondary school education. I was also staying with my elder brother. He is late now. May his soul rest in peace. So at a time, I got my own shop. You know, I I got my own shop. I became my own boss. So I was running my own thing at a very young age. I began to hustle for money at a very young age. Man, I have always been a hustler. Hustlers are born. That spirit to hustle is inborn. I'm not telling you lie. So at a very young age, I owned my own store then. Now, this guy who was 2 meters tall then, man, I am talking about the 80s, the 1980s then, you know, that was around 1986, 87, 88, and then onwards. This guy, ladies, liked him. But the truth is, the guy had no content. He was just tall, but had no content. He wasn't a hustler. So back then, after the day's business, I make some money, some profits. You see me buy clothes. I was in my prime. I was making money. I was shining. So at a time, things went south for his uncle. This guy, this 2 meters tall guy, his uncle. Things became tough for the uncle. Because this guy then stayed in his uncle's store. He was staying with his uncle. So every day he would go to the uncle's store and, stay to hustle, but he wasn't actually a hustler. No, he wasn't. So when things became very tough, because the uncle fed him, the uncle was the one feeding him. So, and then the uncle had a wife and children too. So at a time, the uncle became so broke that this guy who was 2 meters tall couldn't feed himself. So every afternoon, he would come to my shop for lunch. Man, I have always been a good guy. I gave this guy food for many years, lunch for many years. But then look at why I'm telling you this story. Before this guy began to come to my shop, he told me, that was what made me, I laughed. I was so young then. That was what made me to ask him, to tell him to start coming to my shop for lunch, to come to me. And each time, every day in the afternoon, as he came to me, I took him to a restaurant where we ate lunch before he would keep going. So now, look at one day in the evening, I was in my room, we spent time gisting away the night in my room. So then one day he came to me and he said, we were discussing, he said he doesn't like to go to toilets. Do you understand me? He doesn't like going to, sheets, to go remove excreta from his body. I asked him why. He said, because if he goes to toilets, he would be hungry and he had no food to eat. So he preferred to carry excreta in his body. Hey! Now this guy told me he goes days without going to toilets because in his mind, he believes if he goes to toilets, the stomach will be empty. So, and the stomach then will demand for food. And he had no money to buy food or feed himself. You see what poverty does to people. So when I heard the story, I now told him to be coming to my shop for lunch. You see that someone height and size plays no role in our lives. You may argue this, but what I told you is the truth. That somebody is 5 meters tall is not a guarantee that that person is a hustler. That somebody is 2 meters tall is not a guarantee that that person is a warrior. Now let me remind you the fight between David and Goliath. That is to tell you, size does not matter in a fight. Also, when it comes to hustling, size does not matter. Well, I want to end this video here. Let me talk. My name is Rody for sure. See you in my next video. But then, do not forget to follow my page. We keep moving.